Alright guys, hope you're all doing well, hope you're all keeping safe. Thanks for all your support on my last video. Before I begin, spoiler warning, of course, get out if you don't want to know anything about the Division Heartland. And with that said, let's get into this one. In my last video, I revealed the two game modes that are coming to Heartlands. Expeditions, which is a co-op PvE only mode, and then we've got Storm, a 45-player PvEVP mode. I believe you have to complete a certain portion or the whole thing of Expeditions before you can then go in and play Storm. I talked about some of the monetization as well. I talked about there being stealth mechanics coming back, but more importantly, that I had a lot more information to divulge to you guys, and that I'd share this over kind of various videos. Well, today is one of those videos. I've got details on alerts, on shade, beacons, landmarks and other stuff as well. So if you enjoy this one, drop a like down below, subscribe to stay up to date with all of my videos and all of my content. Especially Division content is something that I pretty much cover universally on this channel. And let's begin. Alright, so in my last video I mentioned, I talked about monetization. I talked about there being a store where you could purchase, looks to be vanity items, skins, that sort of stuff. But also there's going to be a battle pass coming with Heartlands, it appears. So it says here under the description of the battle pass, with the battle pass, agents earn cosmetic items by completing challenges or by simply playing the game normally. Rewards include go bags, melee weapons, masks, charms and more. You can level your battle pass to earn in-game credits for use in the store. It looks as well like skins will be awarded for bags, melee items and masks as well, and at least from what I've seen, some of the skins I believe are actually skins that may have been used in Division 1 or Division 2. I'm not totally sure, but it's the same sort of thing you would see in any other battle pass when it comes to kind of vanity stuff. Emotes, they're going to be returning, like the jumping jack that we've got in the Division 2, I believe, and it might have probably been in Division 1 as well. I can't remember, it's been so long. There's some new ones, at least from what I've seen, which are Running Man and one called Linked Dance. And I would assume that somewhere along the battle pass you will be able to, or you'll be awarded emotes. From the footage that's been kind of leaked, you can only see the first kind of 10 levels of that battle pass, I believe, and it looks to be like maybe a go bag, or I think there's a charm on there, and I think it's one that was used in the Division 2 currently. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff we're going to be getting from battle pass, guys. The same kind of stuff that you would expect from any battle pass, similar to what you would get on seasons in the Division 2 if you took away some of the like weapons and that sort of stuff. Then moving on, there are projects that are coming to Heartland. So it says projects are groups of objectives with special rewards for completing them. You visit the project station in the base of operations to select which projects you would like to take on. Once a project is activated, you will start earning progress for each project objective. So again, I think it's going to be very similar to the Division 2, and it almost feels like they're kind of taking stuff, and you'll see that as we're coming on through here and all these videos. They're kind of just taking stuff from the Division 1 and the Division 2, and they're kind of just ripping it out and pulling it into this this Heartlands game, basically. But projects, they're going to be coming to Heartlands. We then move on to alerts. Now, alerts are short activities that can be performed during Expeditions, the one game mode. I'm not sure if they can be performed during Storm. You start an alert by visiting an active shade beacon and activating the alert there. Completing the alert will award you with Division Tech, one of the currencies coming as part of Heartlands, which you can use to upgrade the shade beacon's bandwidth capacity. So I said in the last video I wasn't totally sure on what the currencies are and what they can do. So we do know now that shade tech is coming back to Heartland, and that you can use it to upgrade your shade beacon's bandwidth, which I'll talk to you about in a minute. It says more bandwidth means the beacon, I don't know why I'm saying that, I never say it that way. More bandwidth means the beacon can support more prep items, and I talked about prep items in my last video, so go check that one out if you've not already. Now, Justin and I talked about shade beacons, so let's talk about that. So shade beacons provide data about the different areas of Silver Creek. This is the location we're going to. When activated, they reveal areas with potential loot, including enemy encampments. They also enable the placement of prep items in the area by providing a network bandwidth. One beacon can only support a handful of prep items, so plan carefully. Check the map to see the current location of the contamination in Silver Creek. As long as shade beacons are activated, the map will display area names, encampment locations, supply drops, exfiltration zones, and deployed prep items. So again, in my last video I talked about exfiltration zones. This is where basically it's like the Dark Zone. You fire a flare, helicopter comes in and collects you, but during that time, just like the Dark Zone, you will get attacked by NPCs, that sort of thing. And if you're playing in the PvP environment, then of course players will know that that's gone off and they can come to you. But again, there's going to be supply drops, encampment locations like PvE zones where you can go there and take on enemies, and I presume you'll be able to, there'll probably be crates and stuff like that where you can collect loot from those particular locations. So shade beacons are basically going to be almost like your eye in the sky. They'll tell you where stuff is, and I believe you've got to keep them active in order to know what's going on in that area. Also, it says shade beacons are used to receive alerts in expeditions as well as reset contamination in both modes. Each beacon has a bandwidth and a circle area around the beacon that lets you plant bonus equipment in its radius. The bandwidth is limited to stop player planting too much bonus equipment. Shade beacons can be upgraded, which increases bandwidth and radius. Now, I don't have any more information, and I've looked, any more information about what this bonus equipment was. When I first read that, I actually went back to Resistance from the Division 1, where you could have like a turret or like a healing station or that sort of stuff. That's what I thought it meant. I don't know if it means that, so I'm just put a question mark around that because I'm not totally sure what this bonus equipment is. But again, shade beacons, they can be upgraded, which increases bandwidth and radius. Moving on from shade beacons, in my last video I mentioned that we are going to be able to slide and we are going to be able to do stealth takedowns. Well, there's also going to be crouching as well, that's coming with Heartlands, and combat rolls as well, and also you can slide and shoot at the same time, like you can in Apex. So that's obviously a cool new feature to the Division franchise. There's going to be chicken dancing coming back, guys, and kind of strafing. So from what I've seen, I'm not totally sure if it goes back to like how it was in the Division 1 or if it's more like it is in the Division 2 at this point. So again, question mark around how bad of a problem chicken dancing might be. Moving on, you can weapon butt enemies. And then let's talk about the map. So the map is split into, at the moment, at least from what I've seen, 8 zones. There's going to be landmarks on the map with increased loot spawns and PvE enemies. There are named areas and they change rarity between matches. You can have, say, one area as normal loot in one match, and then in the next match it could be changed to another rarity. I believe the rarity has a color code to it, so it could change to like a yellow or something else, and that will have, say, tougher enemies, and it's going to give you a better chance at loot as well, better loot. The best way of looking at it is the Dark Zone, in how landmarks change there with increased difficulty on enemies. You obviously get better XP, that sort of stuff, but obviously with this you get better loot depending on the toughness of the landmarks that you take on. It's going to be very similar to Dark Zone landmarks. Moving on, weak points. I don't think any of you guys thought this wouldn't be in Heartlands, but weak points are going to be in the game for NPCs. So just like the Division 1 and the Division 2, there are particular spots on an enemy which, when hit and destroyed, they can deal significant damage, or they can just kind of destroy an enemy entirely. You want to basically keep an eye out on enemies with satchels or explosives and pay close attention to those in order to hit those weak points. Very Division. Melee weapons. Now, you probably heard me talking about melee before, but there are going to be melee weapons in the game. They actually give you a speed boost from equipping your melee weapon, and just like most other Battle Royale games, if you equip a melee weapon or you don't equip a weapon at all, it can be an effective way to kind of avoid contamination. Now, what I will say, guys, and I'll bring this up in another video, is the contamination in this game, especially in the Storm mode, isn't like a Battle Royale ring. It's going to be areas like pockets of like severe contamination, and they move randomly, right? It's not like a circle that closes in. It's just going to move randomly. It's almost like the wind is taking the storm, if that makes sense, taking the bad contamination, and it will adjust randomly on the map, I believe. So, and again, I'll talk about this in a video, but I think that's a pretty cool concept. I'll be honest with you, that it makes almost every game feel very different. So yeah, as I said, melee weapons avoid contamination. There is a perk that will double your melee damage as well in game, and there's also level up perks that give materials for melee kills. I think that's as much as I know about the perks at the moment, but I'll do some more digging and see if there's anything more about that. Cover is still going to be a thing in Heartlands, but it appears to be much looser than the Division 2. It looks as though you have to kind of crouch and then you have to kind of like hug a piece of cover in order to get into cover, rather than just kind of snap into it. So it's much more loose, which makes sense because, you know, it's a survival game mode. You don't really want to be hugging cover all the time, and I think that will add to the difference between this game and maybe the Division 1 and the Division 2. It's not really a cover-based shooter, this one, at all. That's why it's called an action shooter. And lastly, guys, there is a shooting range. So I think that's going to be it for today's video. There is more that I could discuss with you guys, absolutely. But like I said, there's enough for me to discuss in this video that will take this video 45 minutes plus. And I don't want to do that, guys, because I know after 10 minutes you guys will lose interest, and that's fair enough. So I think we'll leave it here. But let me know again what you think about all this stuff in the comments down below. From what I'm getting, guys, they've taken a lot of the Division, a lot of the Division 1, a lot of the Division 2 assets. They've pulled it into this game, and they've just put it in there, basically. There is stuff that they're adding on top of that, of course, but if you play the Division 1 and Division 2, you're going to play this game and you're going to recognise a lot of it. Even down to the NPCs, guys, which have a new name, but they're very similar to kind of Rikers and Outcasts from the Division 1 and Division 2, and I'll talk about that in a future video. But that's it, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy this one. If you haven't dropped a like yet and you're all the way to the end of the video, really appreciate it if you do, and subscribe and turn notifications on if you want to stay up to date with all my videos. Until the next one, Epic out.